When you ask me to go into depth about my father, there's not much to tell.
My dad would disappear because of his addiction to drugs and alcohol.
He loved the drugs more than he loved his daughter.
He hit me and my brothers to the point that we couldn't stand up no more.
I grew up watching my brothers fight, my sisters fight. I grew up watching my mom get abused.
A lot of people talk about how they have to survive in the streets, but it's difficult when you have to survive in the streets and your own home.
I had so much anger and so much sadness in me. Anyone who looked at me wrong, I snapped. And it just seemed normal. That this is how every family was.
Sometimes I thought about running away, but then sometimes it's family's all you have.
Some kids, they go to school in fear.
You have to watch your back, you have to watch the color, you have to watch what you wear, what you say.
It's a day-to-day battle for the souls of these kids.
There's something wrong. There's something really wrong going on.
I remember looking at my report card, and basically all I could see was like straight Fs. I remember asking myself, if I'm failing, why am I still passing?
ACE is an organization that's committed to quality education.
The philosophy of ACE is based on giving kids and parents choices.
Competition works in every industry, but we don't see it currently in the public school system nearly enough.
I don't need to preach to you about the state of American education, but we are still educating 52 million kids. We need to keep the heat on.
So when I start looking at our system and how it's serving our kids, it's not doing the job that we need.
We have a monopoly in public education that says you inner city parents have no choice whatsoever, and they're desperate. They're looking for a better alternative for their children.
To come into children's lives and say, okay, you're not thriving where you are. What if we took you out of that environment and put you into this environment? What if?
One of the great features of choice is that it creates accountability.
Those choices must be made available, or we're in effect condemning a lot of kids to not realizing their full potential.
Through scholarships and through our school choice advocacy efforts, ACE is making a real difference in our community.
The point is not just to produce, quote, high school graduates. The point is to produce educated people.
Education is the architecture of the soul.
And that's why ACE was founded, to make sure that in grades K through 12, our kids had the education skills so that they could eventually go to college someday.
That's what saves communities, that's what saves kids.
I remember one night, all of us were tucked into bed and everything. And I remember this one so well because the next day was my field day. I don't know where my dad was. My guess is at the bar, of course. He came home. I heard him open the door and I heard him go into the room. And then I heard my mom and my dad start arguing. The words were getting more vulgar. The tone was getting louder. My older brother came in because he knew what was going to happen. And he knew that we knew what was going to happen. And then I heard my mom scream, like I've heard her so many times before. My brother ran out there. And I remember him telling my dad, just put it down, Dad, just put it down. You don't want to do this. Just think about what will happen. That night I thought my mom was gonna die. I seriously thought my dad was gonna take her life, if not all of us. And I remember the next day just being so upset because I didn't get to go to my field day. My mom didn't get to see me win the ribbons or anything. Instead, we had to stay home and clean up his mess. Clean up the broken glass, clean up the beds, fix the mattresses.
When a kid goes to a class and they are worried about helping mom or dad pay the rent, wondering where the next meal is going to come from, they're not going to worry about being at school. They are in survival mode.
I'm even struggling to help my mom pay with the bills, and we both have 2 jobs.
Some of our kids are parents to their younger siblings.
Even though they're not my kids, I can say that I am a mom to them.
They come to school during the day, they go home, and they have no time for themselves.
And I refuse to be the person that my brothers and sisters can only count on for so long. I'm gonna be the strong one, and they're gonna be able to count on me for the rest of their lives, no matter what the situation.
I think there's a culture shock when our kids get here.
Honestly, the other schools, they didn't care. The teachers showed up, got paid for the day, gave me my homework, sent me home.
You get lost in a room full of 35 or 40 kids and you just become a number.
It's like there's no feeling that I actually care if you understand this. I actually care if you learn it.
There's no room for a relationship. There's no room for real change.
Here, you can tell the teachers care.
The safest place for me now is a classroom. Leaning back in a chair is more comfortable than laying down in my own bed to go to sleep at night.
I just realized that this wasn't just an ordinary school, but it's my family. It's my home.
We're not just the principal and the teacher, sometimes we're a counselor. We're their job coach. Sometimes we're their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers. We fill many roles for our kids.
My wonderful principal, Jason Torres, there he is. He's the one that has really helped me out. And that's how all the teachers are.
Someone's actually giving me a chance by giving me a scholarship and then having all this support around me, just letting me know that I'm loved and cared for.
Our kids can come here and change their lives. That's what ACE does.
When I see more than 90% of our kids going on to college after high school, I get excited because I know our program's making a difference.
I'm gonna be the actually first guy to graduate in the whole family and go to college and become someone successful.
I just see it as my mission in life to support these kids. And when I see these kids, I see myself.
Fact is, at ACE right now, we've got a waiting list of thousands of kids just waiting right now to go to a quality school. We need people who are willing to come behind us and support us financially, because that financial support enables us to give more scholarships to kids to go to a quality school and really have a quality life as a result.
I don't think that anybody could convince themselves that there's a better place to put $2,000.
Our children are our most precious gift from God. And I think that it is our responsibility to love them, to nurture them, and to make sure that every single one of them is educated.
I would not be able to go to the school without ACE.
I can't thank them enough for how much they've done for me.
One word always comes to my mind, and it's Savior. Because without them showing me that there's so much more to life, I'd still be that same kid, just lost within this tidal wave of sadness and anger and confusion.
When you can get a kid to realize that they can be so much more than they are now, you can't put a price on that. You can't. It's amazing when that happens.
I am going to be the change I want to see in the world. I'm going to be the difference in a lot of people's lives, and that's because of them.
You never know the impact of saving a kid, because you'll never know what that child will do. You know, they may change the world.
What you have done is provided an escape. You've provided an alternative. You've provided a way out. You've provided a lifeboat. You're not the smallest reason that this country is still the last best hope.
They've just given me my life back. They've given me so much more to look forward to in the future.